Just gonna use this music. Okay, finally ready for the third and final race in the 10th ever Moonberry Cup. Singha versus Oxford Bags with co-commentator Sickly Jack. Looks like both runners are ready, so let's jump into it. The race begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck to both runners. Okay, again, here in prologue, it's about 30 seconds of hopping for the most part. It's a little bit faster to hop than it is to walk, so both runners just gonna do these little bunny hops all the way through and should finish up, barring any deaths, around 30 seconds. Nicely done. We can skip the journals for after the prologue, and we'll just start doing the journal opens after Forsaken City. So go ahead and ready up at the postcard screens. I'll do the countdown. We'll get started. Okay, looks like both runners are ready to go, so let's begin Forsaken City in 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm pretty excited to see how they approach Forsaken City. I think like around this time, you can start taking it with a bit more aggressive strats. There's a lot of places where you can optimize slight amounts of time, depending on how aggressive you want to take it. So it's interesting to see how you approach City at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, compared to like the league that we did, the first race league, you're going to see a big difference in terms of again, just movement optimizations. And for City, Forsaken City in particular, again, this is a stage that's not a very long stage, and it takes a lot of practice to go slightly faster. So you could grind this for a long time, maybe take your city from a minute 30 down to a minute 15, whereas in some other stages later on, you could practice and save like 30 seconds or a full minute. Welcome in, guys, from the raid, Binary Blob. Welcome in. Shout out to Binary Blob, another Celeste speed runner. So far, it looks like Singha has the advantage here early on.
So far, it's been a lot of clean movement, not too many mistakes. I don't think I've seen any deaths. Maybe there was one early on that I might have missed.
Yeah, there were a couple early on. Yep, both players had a couple early on. Singha is through, nicely done. Oxford now finishing up here at about a minute 30. Let's open up those journal pages, and Jack is going to tell us what we have just early on.
So right now we have a minute 58 from Singha, and just give me a second for Oxford. Should be quite close. Like in a 2:04, so only 6 seconds off.
Yep.
Very
Great
close.
start. Great start. Pretty much what we expect through the first couple stages here, including Old Site. We're not going to see huge gaps in time, but whenever you guys are ready, let's get to the postcard screens. We'll get into Old Site. Okay, looks like we're ready to go. So Old Site begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Old Site is one of my favorite stages. Just something about the music and the vibe. It's a very dreamy, ethereal vibe on this level. It's also a quick level with some cool speedrun strats, and another one that's difficult to optimize, but really fun to play. I think.
Yeah, I would say that when I was first starting out, this was probably my favorite one to do practice on for pretty much the same reasons. It's just fun to play. So I felt like it didn't feel like I was doing work on practicing. It more felt like I was just playing a fun level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these dream blocks are just like a really satisfying mechanic in the game just to zip through those guys.
For sure.
And again, at this level, you're going to see a lot of advanced movements like the wave dashes, the extendeds, like all this stuff is second nature at around this level. And you're also going to see pretty much anywhere possible wall jumps, which is a mechanic that casually you may never have even done one. You may have done one by accident, but for speedrunners, it's considered a an essential tool in the speedrunner's bag of tricks. We're on to the first of 2 screens. Wow, Oxford, I don't know how he did that, but that was impressive. Little shoot the gap in between some battle-ins there. But both players now on the final 2 screens this is really where it's dangerous, the most dangerous, because you have long screens that can cost you time if you make a mistake. Oxford is through cleanly.
Definitely did a great job of closing the gap. It was only 6 seconds between Prologue and City, but I'd say it's definitely more than made up with how Oxford's been playing so far.
Yep, smooth play there from Singha as well. Into the Awake section. Again, this is a section that I've said before, there's no real danger. You're not going to die. There's no spikes or enemies, but it's a section that you really want to optimize your movement as best as you can. Because there's a lot of things that can impede your movement. These springs, these trampolines will actually slow you down and eat up all your momentum. There's these little walls that will kind of catch your foot and can slow you up as well. So all about speed optimization through here. Binary blobs, so you can die. Yeah, you can. Yeah, if you miss dash through a bubble into a wall, yeah. Yep, there we go. Both players through. Nicely done. And we'll take a look at those journals before we head on.
So really good stuff there by Oxford, bringing it to a 418. Singha close behind with a 433.
Nicely done. Okay, here's where the run really begins. Celestial Resort. Okay, looks like both runners are ready. Let's drop in. Celestial Resort begins in 3, 2, 1, go. AKA the Meatball Hotel, says Maxio. This is a jam. I really like the B-side music here. Super hype.
Definitely one of the best B-side soundtracks, in my opinion at least.
First test comes right away here, this first interior room of the hotel. Singha handles it nicely, Oxford struggling a bit. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, there's a thing called death cycles. Each of these cycles, you can see everything's kind of predetermined for the first time you enter the room. Now once you die, everything changes a little bit, so your strategy has to change as well. So it can really throw you off if you hit a death cycle in one of these rooms.
Especially the longer rooms, like the first one that we just saw. Especially because it is so difficult, you're going to be seeing the death cycle quite often. So it's one that you want to get familiar with.
Yeah. Whether or not you like it, you're gonna get really familiar with death cycles if you've run this game enough. And you have to be prepared for them because you're not always gonna get the first cycle. Okay, looks like Singha has the early lead here. And it's going to be the first one to the huge mess room, which again, no danger here in this room, but there's a lot of little strange corners that can really stop your momentum. So the runners are going to be trying to proceed through here as cleanly as possible.
Yeah, I think the key word there is just making sure that it's as clean as possible. The movement itself isn't all that difficult, mostly just making sure that you're using your dashes when you can, but getting caught on the corners of books, towels, and chests can make it a lot slower. So just clean movement all around is going to help you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice first try spike skip there. Spike jump on a Singha screen as oxfordbags is making their way towards Oshiro. A little bit of a slow start here. Gonna have to make up some time for sure, but this is a long stage and a lot of game left. I had the opportunity to pop in on Singha's stream recently, and for the first time, and one of the best voices on Twitch. Shout out to Singha's.
So far, Singha's had a very good huge mess section. Clean through chests and books. Although, some of the hardest rooms are coming up at the end of this towel section.
Commentator's curse. No sooner did you say that he took a couple of deaths. I don't know if he's if he heard it, but that's what happens. But they weren't costly deaths in terms of time loss, which is important. Not all deaths created equal.
This room that Singha is in is a very difficult death cycle.
Mm-hmm.
The dust bunny on the left side gets right in your way.
Yep, pretty easy when you come in on the first cycle and just walk left and fall down. Yeah, the death cycle is much different. And looks like Singha has cleaned up the entire hotel at this point, and he's going to make his way to the roof. We'll find out if he's got a demo dash in his bag of tricks. Speaking of bags, Oxford bags, right on his heels now. A little misstep there on Singha's side. He's going to have to backtrack a little bit and recapture these coins, these keys. This hotel sure is spooky. I hope that once they get to the roof, they'll be safe.
You would think. Not quite. Hopefully coming up on the demo dash.
Yep, demo dash screen. Will we see it? Yep, looks like he's going to attempt it. First try demo dash. Nicely done. Oxford bags next. This is a tricky maneuver here, guys. Another first try demo dash. Nicely done. Okay, Singha now safely to the roof. Oh, not quite. It's time for Ghost Oshiro to attack. He's very upset that you're leaving the hotel. Pretty much guaranteeing a 1-star Yelp review. Both players struggling a bit here. These screens are, for the most part, pretty long and punishing. If you take a death, so clean is the name of the game. Oh, almost pulled that back. Singha got caught in between a rock and a hard place and almost pulled it out, but had to retry. And
quite the sync going on right now.
Yeah, we got a good old-fashioned sync up.
GSA. GSA.
Here we go. We're synced up, boys. Synchronized deaths there as well. And the final screen here, very, very tricky. What's your strategy for this final screen?
Pray. Pray that you don't die. It's one of the ones that if you don't put in a lot of practice into, you're going to have a tough time. Especially since it's the last one in the chapter.
Yep.
It'll be very difficult.
Wow, really, really close race. Really nicely done. GG, let's take a look and see what we got. What do we see? Sickly Jack.
So Oxford Bags with the 11 minutes, pretty clean. And Singha close behind with 11:27.
Wow, 27 seconds. Not a whole lot at this stage in the game as we head into Golden Ridge. Okay, we're going with B-side music. Another one of my favorites. Looks like both runners are ready. Let's begin Golden Ridge in 3, 2, 1, go. So Golden Ridge, it is one of the harder chapters because of the wind elements, and as a speedrunner, there's just so many strats to optimize in Golden Ridge. It's really a strat-heavy chapter, which makes it really difficult, and also because a lot of the screens are very punishing if you don't hit a strat. So we're going to see how the runners handle it here.
I feel like Ridge is its kind of own beast. It might not be very long, but because of the wind and the snowballs, it's different than pretty much any other chapter in the game. So because of that, you have to get used to it basically by itself, like exclusive to any other chapter, which can give a lot of runners difficulty, especially when they're first starting out. But I would hope that these guys can use the wind and the snowballs to their advantage. We'll see more of that towards Old Trail and Cliffface, but I think the strats really can benefit from taking advantage of the mechanics.
Yeah, very well said. It is almost like a little game on its own. Singha going for a backup strat there. Couldn't quite save it, but does have a little bit of an advantage here early on. We're going to see the first auto-scroller screen, and it looks like he's just going to kind of take traditional path here, which is not necessarily a bad play.
Definitely a safe play, especially since if you die on the screen, you're losing upwards of 10 seconds. Not a bad move. And
there's Oxford showing us one of the skip possibilities. Nicely done, executed first try, so he will definitely gain a little bit of ground. But again, risk reward. If he had missed that, all of a sudden you just lost another 10 seconds or so. So it's high risk and high reward there. God bless you. Okay, here's the second auto-scroller. A couple of ways to handle this one as well, and Singha opting to just play it kind of traditional. Again, not a bad play. Oxford Bags using an extended at the end there just to save a little bit of time. And a death there from Oxford Bags, and I was about to say, these guys both handling Ridge very, very cleanly so far. Singha into the cliff face section now with that brutal wind.
Lots of good strats by Singha, making sure that you're not taking it too risky, especially with the wind. Makes it very easy to die.
Yep. Very, very balanced approach here from Singha. Catching a snowball there. We all know the feeling. Sometimes these Yetis are just too powerful. There is a cutoff on towards the end of each screen where the snowball doesn't spawn, but sometimes they just spawn right in front of you.
They always catch you at the worst times.
Yeah. Singha still in the lead here. Oxford catching one of those snowballs there on this spring room. And Singha closing in. Now on the final screen of the chapter. And he's through. Nicely done. And Oxford Bags now making their way to the final screen. Not too far behind.
I think we're about to see some very close times when we look at the journal.
Absolutely. This is shaping up to be quite a race so far. Okay, and we're both through. Nicely done. We'll open up those journals and see what we got so far.
Singha showing us a 15:35, making up a bit of time there. I think Oxford was a 15:27. Yes. So now down to within 10 seconds. Very close race going into Temple.
Couches Rob in the house. What's up, Couches Rob? So we got a race. We got an absolute race as we head into Mirror Temple here. Looks like both runners are in position. Let's begin Mirror Temple in 3, 2, 1, go. I feel like we'll probably, but not necessarily, see two Temple Bs here, but I guess we'll find out shortly.
I would say around this time range is when people start switching over to 5B, but it's definitely not unheard of to be a 5A at this point, so interesting to see how they're going to approach it.
Yeah, we'll know shortly. So here's a skip here. You're going to see both players attempting to avoid having to go to the screen on the left, and grab a bubble, and they both did it really well by able to navigate their way through this long spiky corridor. Singha just a slight misstep there, allowing Oxford to pull ahead, but really neck and neck at this point. Another skip opportunity here. Looks like Oxford is just going to take it safe and not go for the depths corner boost, depths corner yeet. Singha may try to grab a little bit of speed here. Yep. Okay. Good attempt, and it doesn't hurt you if you make a mistake really there. And
so Oxford going for the 5A route.
Oxford answered our question, and it looks like he's a 5A runner. And we have a 5A versus 5A. Okay, here we go. It's a 5A race. And for anybody just tuning in, maybe not familiar, really quickly, I'll just explain. Any percent category means you can complete any combination of stages that you want to beat the game as fast as possible. A lot of runners, when played optimally, 5B is faster than 5A. Oh, Singha taking a death there is so tragic. This screen was probably my least favorite screen when I played 5A, just because it's such a time loss if you just mistime these spikes at the end. But anyway, 5B is faster than 5A when you play it optimally, so a lot of speed runners, at higher levels especially, decide to play 5A up until the cassette, grab the cassette, unlock 5B, beat 5B, and that's, if done well, that's all faster than 5A. Sickly Jack, I played 5A until 37. So there you go. You can have a fast time with 5A.
Yeah, I stuck with 5A for a long time. I felt like I was just used to it for my casual run. At that point, I'd been learning a bit of ARB as well, so I felt like I played 5A in that. It just made more sense for me. So you can definitely get a low time still playing a 5A. It's just kind of what you're comfortable with.
Oxford Bags here into the Seeker section. These Seekers kind of like lock onto you and try to attack you at high speed, but these guys are going to be using the Seekers to actually open up some keys here for them. You can also kind of bop these Seekers on the head.
A lot of the speed strats in Unraveling come down to how well can you put the Seekers where you want them to be. So far, Oxford Bag's doing a pretty good job. Singha, with a few screens that he's been doing with Seeker manipulation, also nailing it.
Yep. Oxfordbags has the slight lead here so far as he heads up towards the what I'm assuming is going to be the search skip. He's going to be doing a movement manipulation here to avoid having to get both these keys. Oh, first try death there, but not a huge time loss to die on this screen. Ooh, missed it twice. This is what Singha needs. Okay, he's through.
As we've seen in our speed school videos, even failing search skip a few times is going to save you time over the intended route, so
Absolutely.
always worth going for.
Yeah, big time save there.
Nice first try by Singha, catching up some time.
Yep. And Oxford now picking up Theo. Theo's section is tricky. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that most people can agree that the Theo section is the hardest one in 5A or 5B, really. Lots of difficult screens with the Theo movement as well that you have to get used to. Can really add up to make some hard screens.
Yeah, holding Theo really really slows you down if you're just kind of doing traditional walking. And it's like an escort mission. You can't leave him behind. And yeah, you can use him to push buttons and things, which is helpful for sure. But yeah, really tricky. But at this level, these guys are going to be able to, they should be able to handle it pretty easily. Singha struggling a bit here. And conversely, Oxfordbags, nice and smooth.
This is another one of those sections with lots of long screens, so deaths here are more punishing than ever.
Absolutely correct. Okay, final screen here for Oxford. Singha not too far behind. This last screen that Oxford's on now can be deceptively tricky. But he is through. Nicely done. I'm holding my breath on Singha's screen. Oh no, the Seeker bumped Theo down the chasm. Unlucky.
It's very unfortunate.
Very unlucky there. Okay, looks like we're through. Okay, good. Minimize the damage nicely. These waves of energy kind of push you back and can knock you out of your pattern. And while you're trying to manage Theo, it can really slow you down. There we go. We're through. It looks like Oxford made up some time there. Let's take a look and see what the journals tell us.
So Oxford looks like he pulled into a bit of a lead. Now at 21:43. Singha at a 22:35. So still within a minute with 2 chapters to go.
Yep.
It's anybody's game.
Absolutely. Close race here for sure as we head into reflection. Okay, runners look like they're ready, so let's drop in. Reflection begins in 3, 2, 1, go. So reflection introduces us to the feathers. How do these feathers work, Sickly Jack?
Feathers are one of the weirder mechanics, honestly. You enter the feather, you can fly around in any direction you want, but you will run out at some point. So here in these early sections, you want to make sure that you're moving cleanly from feather to feather before they run out to maintain your speed as much as possible. Reflection really does introduce some of the weirder mechanics in the game between feathers, bumpers, Kevin blocks.
Yeah,
They throw everything at you.
they really do. And these Kevin blocks, as you can see on Oxford's screen, you kind of dash into them, and then whatever side you dash into them on, they will charge. So you'll see the runners manipulating that, exploiting it for some extra speed whenever they can. And on Singha screen, you're going to see something called neutral jump, which allows basically infinite climbing. Normally you can't climb up this wall that Oxford's on there, and you'll run out of stamina, but by using a neutral jump, you can basically climb forever. Singha struggling a bit here to get this extended, and now through, and we got a sync up.
Wow, almost exact sync. Very close.
So cool when this happens. This is my favorite thing. It's really cool when you have a couple of like Diamond Leaguers syncing up because their movements are almost like pixel perfect. There are multiple routes in Reflection, and the routes fork a few times, and it's really personal preference. I think there are definitely it's been tested, and there are certain advantages. There are definite fastest routes when played optimally, obviously, but it all comes down to your personal preference. Whatever you play faster is the way you should go.
I think the biggest debate is the last split, where's the top versus bottom route. You see Chris in the chat, the top route gang. But for anybody who's played bingo and had to do bottom or top route only hollows, you know that there are some cursed rooms in that section. So the any percent definitely picks a lot of the best ones, both for speed and for sanity.
Oxford bag taking a death there, and we are back, almost synced up again. This underwater section with the spikes is pretty scary. Easy to hit a spike accidentally. Well, we see a battling boost. Singha is taking the traditional route, and looks like Oxford is as well. Okay, Singha is the first to the battling fight. Get your hey yas in chat. Big squish on Singha's screen. Another big squish. Oh no. Squish cycle. Oxford bags pulling ahead here. Dave C57. What's up, Dave?
I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello.
Welcome in. Welcome in. So you can see this final section here, just a lot happening. Badlin will throw these laser beams at you and these kind of energy balls at you, and you've got feathers to navigate around spikes. You've got falling blocks trying to squish you, and really, really hectic But these runners are making it look pretty easy. Bumpers as well here, as you can see on the Oxford Bag screen. Thankfully, the bumpers are not too common here.
I think most people would agree that this is probably the most fun section of Reflection to run, although it is one of the hardest as well. It's surprising to see people enjoying one of the more harder sections, but it really is a testament to how well designed the game is.
Absolutely. One of the best games of all time. Give it up for Celeste. Oxford Bags now into the final fight section, with Singha right behind. Dave C just got Celeste some days ago, now checking out some streams. Oh man, you are in for a treat, Dave C. I think the Celeste community, speedrunning community, is growing every day, to be honest. The leaderboards are massive. It's a game that was designed with speedrunning in mind, and that absolutely shows. It's incredibly fun to speedrun. It's also very accessible, and you know, the Moonberry Cup set up to be pretty accessible in itself. You don't have to be one of the fastest in the world to compete. You just have to have a time of around an hour. Of course, we have some of the fastest in the world in the Moonberry Cup, luckily. Okay, very clean. Oxford is through, and Singha right behind. Just a couple more breath-holding moments. And we're through. Nice. So now the runners just have to make their way using a second dash now. They'll have a second dash for the remainder of the game, which is essentially just Summit. I don't think Singha is going to make up any time here, but with only about a minute separating them, it's absolutely anybody's game going into the final climb.
Yeah, in the Moonberry Cup, we've seen a lot of races decided entirely by summits, so
absolutely.
I wouldn't count either for the runners out.
Okay, let's take a look at those journals. And remember, guys, there's no postcard screen, so we'll ready up on the climb screen. We'll 3, 2, 1, go on the climb screen. Let's see what the journals tell us. Jack.
So Oxford now at a 29.18 and Singha with a 30.33.
Wow. Very close. Very, very close. Anybody's game. Okay, guys. Wipe your palms. Take a deep breath. And we will count you down into Summit. Here we go. The final climb in 3, 2, 1, go! Viking Baruda. Welcome in, man, Viking.
I'm like, hey, what's up, hello?
So, Summit is an extremely long chapter. The longest chapter in the game by far, and it's made up of pieces of every chapter from the game. So right now they're in what's called 0 meters, which is unique to Summit, and then they're going to go into 500 meters, which will resemble Forsaken City, and then Old Site, and then Resort, and so on, until they reach the final section called 3,000 meters. Singha off to a huge start with a very clean 0 meters. This is absolutely the start that Singha wanted.
That's one of the good things about Summit being at the very end of races like these. because it is such a long chapter, there is a ton of time to be able to make up. So for sure the start you're looking for.
Yep, absolutely. And it's such a marathon chapter, and there's so much to, so many movements to memorize and work into your muscle memory, and you really have to be flexible. It takes a lot of gamer abilities. You got to be ready for mistakes. You got to have backup strats. And Singha right now just performing very nicely into the old site section. oxfordbags wants to close this gap a little bit, now into 1,000 meters themselves. Pixel Noise asks, can these times PB? Maybe close. Maybe close.
I know Singha was saying before we started that their PB is a little bit better than a 43. Something in the 40-minute range. So might be a bit difficult to break that mark, but Oxford, it will be very close to see.
So far so good here, both runners. No big mistakes, but we are reaching 1,500 meters. Where anything can happen here. A couple of real time loss possibilities. A couple of rooms in 1,500 meters. Well handled there by Singha through that first really scary room. And then a short little room here, and then into another long scary room. Looks like he's got
You get a tiny break in between, that's it.
Yeah. He's got a good strat though, nicely done. Through the first half there with some good speed. Oxford gonna have to restart, and we have a race. Absolutely, we have a race now. Before, just to catch everybody up, before heading into this, Oxford had about just under a minute lead, and it is slowly whittling away. And Singha through to 2,000 meters. We got more wind in store for both players here.
Tough death there by Singha. This is one of the rooms to look out for just because of how long it is. Dying right at the end. Very difficult. Gives oxfordbags a bit of time to catch up. Looks like Singha is taking the safe route. None of the auto-scroller skips here.
Let's see how Oxford handles it. This is a room with the auto-scroller that has multiple paths. Looks like both players just going to take it safe, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Oxford playing well. Able to close some of the gap here in Summit.
Yep. Absolutely catching up here in 2,500 meters.
Only about a room off from each other. Very close.
Or 2,000 meters.
Still some of the more difficult sections to go through between 2,500 and then 3,000. So
Yep. Just want to mention briefly, guys, if you're enjoying the Moonberry Cup, we will have a special event next month called the Modberry Cup. First of its kind, where we're going to be showing off some Celeste user-created levels. We're going to be creating behind the scenes, kind of creating our own level with chat a little bit and learning about the process and showcasing a bunch of levels from some of the greatest mod map makers. And also going to have some racing, some speedrun exhibitions, so stay tuned for that. That'll be July 26th. Nice skip there from both players, grabbing that key. And wow, oxfordbags really closed the gap here. We're going to need some really clean play from Singha. He has about a minute to make up. Small mistake there, adding up. Luckily, Oxford took a death as well.
Not quite hitting door skip. Losing out on that 9-year advantage.
Oof. Oxford opening doors, keeping it safe, and just like that, is back in front. Now neck and neck as both players heading towards 3,000 meters. This is absolutely a race. Ooh, you hate to see that. Singha taking that little spike touch there at the top of this room is going to hurt. Remember, he is a little under a minute behind. So at this point, we're going to have to see some very clean play from Singha and hope that Oxford really struggles. As both players now in the final climb, 3,000 meters.
Chris in the chat spouting some propaganda about opening doors. Don't really know why he hasn't been banned yet, but it's
Door
okay.
opening propaganda. So you can see now the wind, those wind lines are coming straight down, and this is the first time in the game that this happens, and it's called the downdraft section. Makes it really challenging to move because you know, the wind pushing against you, just it changes all the mechanics you learn the entire game are just a little bit different because of the way the wind affects you.
And then once you're getting used to the downwind, flip the switch and you're back to upwind. So it's going to be very difficult between downdraft and updraft.
Okay, let's see where we are here. Oxfordbags on flag 14.
Some of the most difficult flags coming up right here.
He's gonna need to keep it very clean. Skurzelik. What's up, Skurzelik?
I'm like, hey, what's up,
Is
hello?
this a race for the Moonberry? No, this is not a race to the Moonberry. This is an any percent race.
If Oxford's PB is accurate on the screen, this could be very close for a Moonberry Cup PB.
Wow.
That'd be exciting to see.
I'd love to see that. We've got a
Got
few
2
today
minutes
already.
to do it. Only 2 more screens, couple more flags. Very doable.
very clean from both runners. Oxford on to flag 3. And flag 1 for Oxford Bags. Singha not too far behind on flag 2. Actually made up some time here. Look, if Oxford's PB is accurate, that looks like a PB.
A full minute PB as well.
Let's go.
Really nicely done.
Singha as well. Is that a PB? 2 PBs. Yeah, baby. 2 PBs. Wow. We've had 4 PBs today, I think. Amazing.
Pajama, I'm sorry.